Detroit operation. And like Ben said whenever he took the gig, Caleb can do stuff that Jared Goff's never dreamt of doing. Mm-hmm. If this play has to go off script, Caleb can make the magic happen. Are we going to see all of that, Bruce? Is everything that was the upside of potentially Ben and Caleb coming together, is that all possible for this season? Do we think it's going to take a couple of years? Like, are we close to seeing Caleb Williams be a top 10, top 5 quarterback in the NFL with Ben Johnson's leadership?
I don't think there's any doubt as long as they keep giving that ball to DeAndre Swift, because it all starts with that running game. If he doesn't have the running game, has to throw it 50 times, we're going to see the old Caleb, because he's going to be running around for his life. They keep that running game going, which they did in Detroit. Ben always had a great running game, and they looked powerful last night running the football, especially at the end when you have to run it. Mm-hmm. Then Caleb's going to be a hell of a quarterback.
They know you're running it. We know you're running it. Being able to run it is a tone setter. Oh. Ben Johnson's attitude almost settling into Chicago as well, D-Bud.
I love you all. We always see the tricky stuff with the Detroit offense and the Ben Johnson stuff, but it comes down to being able to run the ball. And then the second part of that stat that was just popped up there was 48% play action rate, I think I saw. I mean, if he's living in that world, play action, turn his back to the defense, getting his eyes back down and hitting guys wide open, like that is what Jared Goff did. And then when it does break down, when something happens, he can scramble for 15, 20. So he has all the tools. Ben has all the tools. It's going to be about, can they continue to put a good team around him?
I was out on the Bears. Again,
so
big time.
Giving up too quick.
Most people were.
I not publicly. I don't think I did it on the show into the microphone. I think I certainly did not have as much super optimistic praise about the Bears after seeing some things. I just thought humans-wise, this is not a good fit. Like, I just think what we learned about Ben Johnson and what we thought we knew, I guess, about both these guys, but Caleb, it's like this ain't. I mean, Jared Goff was great for Ben Johnson because Jared Goff just like, whatever you tell me, I'll do. And I think the most outside of the lines thing I've ever seen Jared Goff do is when he dressed up like a JUCO quarterback for, I think it was Red Bull.
Oh, yeah.
And he put on like Chad Powers, basically. He did Chad Powers, went and did a workout, and everybody's like, whoa, who's this guy? And he's like, it's me, Jared Goff. Like, that's the most outside of football thing I've ever seen from Jared Goff. And then you got Caleb. Caleb's obviously got everything. He's got a fund. He's got this. Obviously, he's got the nails. I think he has a paint brand. Like, he has businesses. He has everything. USC, Los Angeles, Hollywood. Like, Caleb has all the bright lights, everything that could potentially be considered a distraction, which is why it was so impressive with what Caleb was able to do, because he was like the first one in this NIL brand who was getting paid more than everybody. Mm-hmm. He was getting more opportunities than everybody, and he was still playing great and doing his thing. So I guess you could say he was more mature, but there was a lot of shit outside of the world with the modern athlete than opposed to maybe the Jared Goff generation of athlete, which is like 10 years ago, let alone 20 years ago. So I immediately thought Ben Johnson and Caleb were never going to work. That's 100% on me. I was clearly wrong. What I didn't, remember at the time is that Caleb has like Tom Brady's stats like on his phone.
Yeah.
Like Caleb Williams, if he's told what would make him great, which I assume Ben Johnson was able to do, like, hey, here's how you can be great. This is what I need from you exactly.
Yeah.
It's like Caleb, from all understanding about his competitive spirit and what he wants to do, that's all he cares about. Everything else is kind of outside of it. I guess I should have put more respect on that. Him buying into Ben Johnson's culture because he thought there would be success on the other end, and there clearly has been here 5-6 weeks in.
Totally, and I think when you have an offense starting, defense sees it too. Defense is going to start playing better and better and freer and looser because their offense is scoring points and not turning it over every damn time. So it's hand in hand. That's how that team gets built, and Ben's doing a great job with it.
Yeah, playing in Chicago, NFC North too, like, you're going to have to win ugly games like that one last night. You're going to have to be able to run the ball. You're going to have to be able to take care of the ball in shitty weather games. And that's not something you necessarily thought of when you saw Caleb Williams. And we all talked about it, building from the outside in, having those great weapons on the outside, but not having the O-line. When you have that O-line and you can run the ball, like, we haven't really even seen Luther Burden be a big factor in this offense week in and week out. We see what Rome is becoming. We know who DJ Moore is. Loveland, who got drafted before Tyler Warren.
Had a couple plays last night.
He made some big plays, but I don't think we've seen him yet. So it's a lot of growth there left for this team just on the offensive side. And then defensively, you got a former head coach, Dennis Allen. He's going to have those boys playing well as well.
Yeah, I mean, I guess, I'll play devil's advocate.
This is Green Bay Packers owner Ty Schmidt speaking.
Exactly, because I'm a Packers fan, so you can take it with a grain of salt. There's no two ways about it. Like, they are getting better week over week, but you talk about competing in the North. Like, they got their asses kicked by the Lions, and they've gotten beat by the Vikings. So their only 2 losses have been to the NFC North. Now, granted, that's earlier in the season. And I think one thing you could say about the Bears to give them a lot of credit is in years past, they start out 0-2, like they start sprinkling a little bit. It rains shit on them. And then the season is just over, like before Thanksgiving. For them to start 0-2 and be like, hey, the sky's not falling. We're going to be okay. And to look as good as they have the last couple weeks, like that is obviously very promising if you're a Bears fan.
Moody, good kicker in my eyes as well. NFC North, though, AJ, if you think about it, obviously got Caleb and Ben. You got Jordan LaFleur. Jared Goff and MC DC is just what we're going to have to say now at this point. He's a little bit older. And then there's a really young duo over there in Minnesota, Con Man.
Yeah, that's just like the biggest question mark. And to Ty's point, just to kind of pile on the Bears for a second there, they did completely screw up Loveland just because Warren's already the best tight end in the league. But when you look at the Vikings, like that's the next question. Just the law of averages, okay? We got 5 quarterbacks from last year's rookie class, and they're all playing incredible football, and all of their teams I think all of them have winning records or 500, and then there's J.J. McCarthy. So if you're thinking about it, just zoomed out, you would assume that might not work. And they've only showed 1 good quarter of football, and it was against the Bears when they hadn't figured it out yet. So, like, my question for you guys, like, especially you, Bruce, do you think J.J. and KOC will work? Because at the current moment in time, they really screwed the pooch letting Sam Darnold go.
Whoa! Yeah, I'd say Sam Darnold would be balling for KOC. What could they do salary cap-wise? And J.J. McCarthy getting hurt and not playing more is not good. How do you feel they end up mending
And they let Dan Jones out of the building. Sorry, forgot about that.
Yeah, and they had an offer allegedly that was a little bit more than the Colts, but it wasn't a... Because he's paying, what, $13 million for us?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Which Daniel Jones, we can't. Hey.
Yeah.
We love you, Dan. We absolutely love you.
Legitimately need him here for a decade.
We are so thankful you were here. And let me tell you, I don't have any say in it, but if I was a public owner like they are of the Packers, I would say, give this man his money. Let's go ahead and let Danny Dimes find a nice house here that might be for sale soon in Indianapolis. And maybe, call himself home here in Indiana. But yes, Minnesota Vikings had him in the building last year. And because of how much they liked him, I think that is why a lot of other people liked him as well. Like, hey, KOC and the Vikings are saying good things. Now they get Aaron Rodgers was potentially going to go to Minnesota. They said no. Sam Darnold was there. Danny Dimes was there. And Aaron Rodgers said he wanted to be allegedly said he would be open to conversations with the Minnesota Vikings, even though I don't think that was ever completely confirmed by either party, and we're not confirming that right now. But whenever you think about them choosing JJ, they're going to give him a lot of time to figure it out, you think, because of that decision being made? Or what do you think on them building back their relationship?
Well, I don't think there's any doubt. They put that C on his chest for a reason. When a rookie quarterback gets a C on his chest, he's got something special. Now, he's got Carson Wentz playing really good right now. So it's like, I'm not counting out the Vikings for sure, and especially Kevin O'Connell. That's going to be a division kind of like the SEC on a 9-game schedule. They're going to knock the shit out of each other every week.
The NFC North is going to be a dogfight. In the SEC, we're staring. If you start looking ahead, forecasting schedules for ranked teams in every single conference, the Big Ten, a lot of their good teams, they're playing a lot of teams that don't have numbers next to them going ahead, okay? In the ACC, you're seeing a lot of teams playing teams that don't have numbers next to them. The SEC, all the teams at the top with numbers next to them, they're all playing each other over the next 5 weeks or so, 4 or 5 weeks. And boy, the SEC folks are going to get loud. Oh, so into college football play? Yeah, right. Big 12's playing ranked. I mean, this weekend, BYU, Utah, Arizona State has a couple big ones going down. So it's like even Big 12 has ranked games. With Penn State not being ranked, which I think, a lot of people are assuming would be another big game on the schedule, it's going to get loud at the end whenever we're talking about playoff seeds. Just would like to let everybody know. It's going to get loud.
Real loud.
AJ, it is going to be louder than it was last year, and I'm here for it, certainly, because what happened to Tennessee when they came up to the North?
Bingo.
In the college football playoff. What was that? Everybody's talking about Texas having a bad year. Well, maybe that's because they came up to the North to start their season. There's going to be that angle as well.
Who's won the last two national championships?
Oh, that's an...
Oh, shit. That's right, the Big Ten.
Oh, my God.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's set up so good for so much fodder. All right, let's talk about some NFL news. Brian Branch has been suspended for 1 game for his smack in the mouth of Juju Smith-Schuster during the potential dap-up era of a football game. Now,
what a picture.
I do appreciate that they say, yeah, Juju got tossed around by his helmet, and he ended up bleeding from the nose, and he obviously thought that they were going for a dap-up, even though a lot of people are showing a block from like 3 minutes and 20 seconds left in the game where Juju cracks down and really gets Brian Branch pretty good. I mean, this is quite a crack, quite a shot, and Juju would say, that's tough football.
That's right. Nice war.
And Branch right there would say, like, yeah, you got me in my back, though, and Juju said, I didn't call it. So that is probably the entire interaction right there. I think Juju potentially thought it was over at that moment. We're moving on. He's screaming the sideline, goes to dap up. Branch smacks it, says, no, actually, I'm not done with this. Hands on waist. I hate you. Boom. Shot to the mouth. Everybody wondered what was going to happen because the melee that ensued. Obviously, the NFL is going to have to figure things out. He did do a little wee toss. He did get thrown. Obviously, it's a very dangerous situation. He had camera people in there. Nobody blowing out their knee or the ankle is obviously a good thing. We assumed the NFL would do a punishment. Jalen Carter, before they even stepped foot on the first play, because of the spitting incident, he got suspended. That game basically is what they considered. A lot of people assumed this was going to be a similar situation. He's suspended for one game. I love that they say suspended without pay. It's like they're reminding people that suspensions, you don't get paid. Like, this is them saying he is getting fined because he's not getting paid, okay? So he's getting suspended and getting fined. Anytime somebody's suspended, they are getting fined because they're not getting paid for. So it feels like during the rollout of this, it was a reminder to people, like, we are taking money out of his pocket for this, and also he's going to be suspended. Because I was suspended for a game for a public intoxication situation, and boy, no game check. You start adding up the fines. I got a $150 fine from Marion County. I got a $29,000 fine from the NFL for a you start doing the math, it's like, oh my God. Game checks are real. Never want to hear game checks on the line for anything unless you're very sure of it. Okay? Unless you're very sure of it. But he misses a game and 1/18 of his yearly salary, which I think we all assumed was going to be the case, AJ.
Yeah, this is why you want, if you're signing a new deal, you want to have league minimum in your salary and you want your money in bonuses. So if you do get set down for a game, it may be, I don't know, $80,000 instead of $3 million if you have a huge base salary. That's one benefit of having your money come in bonuses, I feel like, and having a low salary when it comes to how it's structured. But, we're not shocked, are we, that he got suspended in the game? He don't punch that obvious. Yeah, it's going to happen. Nothing happened to Juju, though, right? He's cool.
He's going to get a money. I don't know, actually. Because he's just defending himself, and he got weed around.
He did flop. But.
Yeah, BA, what do you think whenever you see this type of situation? And obviously, physical altercations, it's a physical sport. There have been fights in the history of football. I think the way this all went down had MCDC afterwards saying, that ain't who we are. This ain't what we're known for. And then Foxy, Detroit Lions fan, comes out and says, a lot of people want to smack Juju Smith-Schuster.
A lot of people.
And Brian Branch did that. No matter how disgusting Foxy tried to turn this incident into, what are your thoughts on it all? And did you expect a one-game suspension?
Yeah, it's going to be at least one. I would have hoped to see more because there's no place for this. Okay. No place for this post-game. So many people could have got hurt, and that could have turned into a huge melee had other guys got involved. Thank God the cooler heads prevailed. Guys were trying to get them off the pile, stop it, instead of joining in and start throwing helmets and all the shit that can happen. I've been fine with 3 games.
Okay, so that's BA, man, who was in the NFL for 27 years. And we thought that there was going to be a big precedent set by the NFL. Media people are in there.
Yeah.
Anytime it's like, hey, these aren't our people. Like,
yeah, how did they not tear their ACL? Like, when people are getting thrown around, those camera guys, it's unbelievable. No one else got hurt in this. Like, any of the civilians on the field weren't just
There was a high stepper, I think, from a camera that got him out from underneath some stuff. And I think that is why BA is saying what he's saying, though. It's like the NFL could very easily say, hey, these aren't our people that you guys are currently potentially affecting. And also, there's a lot of shit talkers in this sport. Okay, so when the game's over, we can't have people just fighting because of what was being said or happening in the game. We thought a big precedent was going to. Now, one game, I think, it's
huge.
That's a big deal. That is a big deal. Now, you're saying 3 games, obviously, a little bit more of a message to everybody, which I completely concur. Speaking from a player's perspective, you only have 17 opportunities a year to kind of do your thing, let alone earn the check of it all. So a 1-game suspension is a big deal. Nobody did get hurt. Right, so like that is Brian Branch's. That's Brian Branch's angle. Like, hey, you saw the camera, people. I clearly was telling them to. Whoa. while I was tossing Juju around in the head. But it was a wild scene that I don't think any of us expected in prime time.
Well, and that's my question for you, BA. Like, I get it, sure. I mean, the fact that you said 3 games is absurd to me, but like Mike Evans and Marshawn Lattimore, you were his coach. They got into it on the field. He got kicked out. I don't know what his suspension was, but this wasn't the only thing. Like, a lot of people were saying Brian Branch was kind of a piece of crap for shoving off Mahomes, before he did that. But if you went back and watched the game, Mahomes, points at Brian Branch after scoring a touchdown, flips the ball in front of Brian Branch after scoring a touchdown, and then flexes while staring at Brian Branch after scoring a touchdown. So, like, 3 games, okay, but, like, when Mike Evans and Marshawn Lattimore got into it, like, what's your messaging to the team, and what was, his suspension when that happened?
It was 1 game. It was a game, 2. And I probably started that one, so.
That's fair.
I got kicked off the sideline for the rest of my career too. So
yeah, but I think what.
But no, for me, 3 games not necessarily without pay. 1 for sure. All right, but all that shit you're talking about happens between the lines. Mm-hmm. That shit goes on every week between the lines. This is outside the lines. All right, post game, most guys are praying. All right, now. You're bringing civilians in. I'm not sure there's not some cameraman that might got a kick that's going to have a civil lawsuit in here.
You're saying might have slipped and fell there. I actually have some PTSD as well from what I've seen. You saw Juju fly through the sky. His nose was bleeding right in front of me. Oh, my God. I'm not going to be able to get back out there. Yeah, it was scary. It was a scary scene. But all of it's sad. They'll move on. BA's talking, though, as a person that has been in these altercations, saying we can't be carrying what we're saying in the second quarter into the postgame. Like, that can't be what the postgame.
Not to the bus.
There's some things that have been, like CJ, let's assume that he has potentially said some things. First quarter, second quarter, third quarter, or maybe fourth quarter. Hey, how about overtime? If we get an opportunity, we're going to say that. When this game ends, though, can't be fighting on field because of something that happened. Is basically what BA is implying.
Yeah.
Can't carry over the game into a time whenever it's not live action.
Yeah. But
now, if you want to meet each other in the back hallway, which has happened.
Mm-hmm. Swing away.
That has happened. You guys want to go ahead and
get out by the buses.
Yeah, you want to go on the bus. We can block this thing. You guys need to handle some stuff. You got to do what you got to do. Now, wasn't that the NBA?
Yeah.
They called it the police?
Kevin Garnett.
Yeah.
And I think Melo.
No, Phoenix. Was it Phoenix?
No, it was Phoenix and the Clippers and Chris Paul. Allegedly, they were going to meet in the back or whatever, and Charles Barkley and Shaq.
Oh, yeah. That was a different one, yeah.
Yeah, there was a cops call. I think cops were called at one point. Because that was the whole conversation. It's like, police are getting called because you guys want to fight each other in the back. Like, let's take it easy, boys. You want to throw hands. Let's do this like
by all means.
Let's do this like civilized gentlemen here. Let's rally around. Let's get our hockey sticks. Let's stick tap for this thing. It's crazy what is acceptable in one sport and not in another. And it's like you can't fight in football. And after the game, we can't have you fighting and potentially tearing out the cameraman. We learned that lesson. AR, Anthony Richardson's story is an interesting one. His professional career thus far, if it was to be a book, would certainly be a must-read, just because of all the twists and turns that you think can't happen to somebody who has the incredible upside that his body currently has. So incredibly athletic, so incredibly gifted, so incredibly dynamic, like, makes you think this guy could be greatest of all time. I believe there was a lot of people in the Indianapolis Colts organization at the highest levels that thought that, hey, this is the most gifted person to ever come into the NFL. Well, he's only played like 13 games or something in total. Yeah, but we can get him there. We can get him there. We can do that. So literally drafted on potential and opportunity, became a storyline in of itself whenever opportunities were starting to disappear because of injuries or other situations brewing off the field. Now we have the most recent one. This guy was warming up, trying to do the right thing. He came into this season, I think, a much better professional quarterback, I think people would say. Came in early, seemed to be prepared. Now, there's still football stuff that he had not experienced or learned in his life that was certainly on display in the first preseason game against Baltimore when they ran a very standard pressure and he gets demolished without even seeing it. Ends up breaking his pinky, which once again, whole nother storyline to his added short NFL career thus far. So they go a different direction with Danny Dimes. He is nothing but positive on the sideline. He is nothing but a helper to Danny Dimes. He's dapping people up on the sideline. It's like this guy is buying into everything that he has to be in the end. Trying to do the right thing, warming up in the locker room, bands, post on something on a wall. Something falls off wall, okay? I don't know what it was. It was wrapped around something that was on wall. Off wall, hits him in face. Okay? Immediate blood, I guess, from what I've been told. Blood. Immediate to hospital and surgery. And I think they're going to plastic surgery. I think it's like I think it's like the most unlucky situation.
Could have blinded him.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know the entire insight, but it's something off wall hits, and then it's immediate, like, obviously
He broke his orbital. Was it orbital?
Yeah. But broke his orbital bone, and it's like that's really close. So like to your point of his eye, but it's like how unlucky can a dude get? You know, like needed reps, got hurt, couldn't play. Okay, need to learn something, can't play to learn thing. Then has opportunity to learn, grow, watch a pro, be a part of a good team, be a part of a good culture, and all of a sudden, yeah, you gotta go actually because the wall falls and hits you in the face. It's like this dude's unlucky. He's incredibly gifted. I assume he's going to maintain a positive mindset like he has. But geez Louise, this guy can't buy a break right now, BA. Now, a lot of people say he hasn't set himself up to in the past. But this year it felt like he was doing everything right and still has the football gods happy.
Yeah, you hate to see it happen, especially in something crazy like that. You know, he was making all the right moves, trying to learn. I think he's learning a lot watching Danny's prepare and seeing another pro prepare. And it's just a shame for the guy.
Yeah, I hope it all. Hey, AR. Pull for you, brother.
Yeah, for real.
Godspeed. Absolutely crazy. Let's talk about some game balls. BA, last week, I think you mentioned it in some take that you have. If I had game balls, I'd be giving this guy a game. Oh, yeah, you made
Ezra Cleveland.
You made Liam Cohen give Ezra Cleveland a game ball. You said, hey, if I were you, I'd be giving the ball directly to Ezra. Are you going to give him a game ball? You should give him a game ball. So I'm sure he was going to, but definitely publicly forced by you to give him a game ball because Ezra and his family saw that entire interaction and said, yeah, it's a good question, actually. Why does Liam give us game ball? This guy hates us. So we immediately thought, oh, BA, you should give out game balls. Something that a coach does every single week. So we got BA's game balls. You want to start in the NFC or the AFC? One per is how we decided to do this.
No, start in the AFC.
Okay.
And it's no surprise. They're back. Patrick Mahomes.
Congrats, Pat. And a baby Patty.
And in the NFC, probably the most electric player in the league right now, Bijan Robinson.
Bijan, baby! 170 rush yards, 1 rushing touchdown, 68 receiving yards, and obviously the show of the Atlanta Falcons down there. Had Jeezy on at halftime. We thought that was a good omen. What we didn't know fully is what Dan Orlovsky told us. This guy is the entire offense. They're building around him, AJ. It's special time down in Atlanta, and now, congrats to Bijan. He gets the first ever BA NFC game ball. I'm incredibly proud of him, AJ.
Yeah, he is. And if you see this, I know Dano talked about it on the broadcast. Bijan's in that pistol form, like that pistol set, so he's behind the quarterback when the quarterback is in a gun. Dano was actually saying he's not a huge fan of it for the quarterback. He feels like it can make the quarterback not sure of where to drop or whatever if he's throwing the ball. But I think it does so much for this offense. Like defensively, it gives you a little bit weird, like a different look. He's almost hidden behind the quarterback. And with Bijan's patience, like the guy's patience and vision is just off the charts. And it seems like every play, too, like, oh, he's lined up at it. He's out at one. He's a receiver, motioning back in. And whether he's getting the ball or not, he's getting a ton of attention. And Algiers, his, 21-yard touchdown, the first score of the game, like, I think Bijan motions out. Multiple guys are paying attention, going with him. And Algiers is awesome as well. And he just takes it to the house. So this offense, I think, is only going to get better as the season goes.
And the Buffalo Bills' defense against the run and running backs was obviously soft, so that's why many people, including Dano, thought it was going to be a bad matchup for this Buffalo Bills team. And now the world's falling in Buffalo yet again, and Atlanta is thriving. They have a BA game ball down coming to that locker room. And then for the AFC, you said Patrick Mahomes. So let me tell you about Patrick Mahomes right now. Who's the odds-on favorite to win the MVP? Let's go to Hammer, Don, AP Tone.
That would be Patrick Mahomes.
Hey, who's the odds-on favorite to win the AFC?
I think that's the Kansas City Chiefs.
Okay, so you have a couple good games of offense, and all of a sudden everybody goes, yep, they woke up. Rashee Rice is about to show up. It's a real fear that we all have of the Kansas City Chiefs. And whenever we start to see them play well, we all go, up. The Boogie Monster's back. I mean, this is bad news for everybody. For the NFL, though, it's awesome. I love that Patrick Mahomes is back balling. I like that Travis Kelce looks a little bit faster, quicker, leaner, meaner. I like that Andy Reid is back in his bag. I like that Spagnuolo's able to win these big games again. I like that the Kansas City Chiefs are good again. And you gave Patrick Mahomes a game ball. Why is that? Why was he the decision?
Oh,
A lot of good players.
four touchdowns. I mean, and everybody's writing them off. And the last 3 games are averaging 30 points a game. That's Kansas City Chiefs football again. Now the defense is going to start playing again. I think Chris Jones got his lesson learned, and he'll be playing balls out for the rest of the year.
Patrick Mahomes, back to the MVP favorite, because we all assume that they're just going to be around and win the big games at the end of the season. Trick him, dick him, back in the Chiefs offense. And Patrick Mahomes has been running a lot.
Yeah.
That's a little bit different from this year versus years past. He's been running a lot, and I think he feels a sense of urgency to get this offense back on track, AJ.
Yeah, I mean, when Patrick Mahomes is doing Patrick Mahomes things like this, when he uses his legs, I don't know, you guys watched the quarterback thing. The workouts that this dude was doing in season is unbelievable. The running, all the different movements, like the pliability stuff, it's pretty amazing what he can do. He's definitely a deceptive athlete where I think people underestimate his wiggle and they underestimate his speed and strength. So it's a fun thing to watch. I don't know if you guys saw the clip or not. There's a clip and it says, how can you only hear Patrick Mahomes' voice over all this when they're fighting? You know, when Juju and them are fighting, you can hear, hey, you can hear Mahomes' voice, like trying to get everybody to stop over everyone. There's 800 people there, and we can hear Patrick Mahomes trying to calm everybody down.
I didn't think about him quickly becoming OG or Unk in the league. Patrick Mahomes, growing right in front of us, already has a GOAT resume, and it feels like he's having like a second chapter with this Chiefs offense, D-Bo.
He's special. What him and Andy Reid have been able to do for this long. How many AFC championships, games, how many Super Bowl appearances, Super Bowl wins at this point in the league? We had Montana on. He didn't pick him because he felt like he was too old. Is this dude even 30 yet? Like he's unbelievable. Leading the team right now in rushing, which you don't want, but he's dangerous, man. Carrying all the weight that he's carried. Now Worthy's back healthy. Hollywood Brown, he just had a couple touchdowns. That's going to open things up for Travis Kelce and then Rashee Rice, who before he got suspended and injured, he was becoming that number one receiver, that number one target. We'll see where he picks up now. If this run game can get going outside of Patrick Mahomes, they'll be even more difficult to stop. And then Spags, he'll figure it out down the stretch when it comes to the big games they have to win.
I think if you go back to the combine, maybe the 2 best scramblers in the league right now, the 2 MVP candidates, Patrick Mahomes and Baker Mayfield. I think they both ran 4.8. They say these cats are just pocket passers, and they're running all over the place.
Okay, so let's talk about Baker a little bit because we are talking MVP candidates. We talked about, it felt like there were 6 of them that got wins that could potentially be MVP candidates. Sam Darnold's in there. Obviously, Baker Mayfield is at the top of the class whenever you start thinking about that conversation for what he's been able to do down in Tampa. You're saying it's not just Baker, obviously. Baker's got an offensive coordinator who's new to town. Obviously, you just lose Liam. You lose David Canales whenever you're down there. They got a new offensive coordinator. They got Baker. They have so many injuries. How have they had the success down there as somebody that's in the building literally weekly?
Yeah, I think Josh Grizzard is doing an amazing job.
That's new offensive coordinator.
That's the new offensive coordinator. When you don't have your right side of your offensive line and your top 4 receivers and you score 30 points against the Niners, you're doing a hell of a job. Mm-hmm. Now, I got to give Todd Bowles a ton of credit. For me, he is the coach of the year just because of what he's doing with all the injuries, not just on offense, but on defense. I mean, he went to the game with, 9 starters out and beat the Niners. But, yeah, I think what Bake's just throwing him on his back. He's got the Johnson & Johnson brothers. They're like 6th and 7th receivers catching touchdown passes, and one can do a hell of a flip, though.
Oh, Tez can fly. Tez can absolutely fly. And Tez's thing coming out, you talked about Baker running a 4.8. Tez was 142 pounds and ran like a 4.54 or something like that. And people were like, there's no way this guy can be this small and this slow. He's behind the defense right there, D-Butt. Yeah. What does that mean?
I mean, his play speed was never 4.5. I was shocked when he ran that time because we saw him play, and he was a fast guy, kind of opposite of like Jackson Smith and Jigba. Like I don't know what his 40 time is, but when him and like Ibuka get on the field, their field speed is different, and that's his field. This was a 3rd and long, and Baker found him. And not only his speed, like this catch, was unbelievable. You watch this catch in slow motion for him to catch that, and then obviously we see the athleticism with his celebration. But yeah, Baker, when you can do it with whoever's lined up out there, everybody in the NFL is talented, but we don't know these guys. These guys didn't come into the season thinking they'll be the number 1, 2, or 3 guy on the outside or the inside. Even the guys that's been blocking for him. Bucky Irvin's been out. He's one of the best backs in the league in the run and pass game. So what Baker's been doing is just unbelievable.
Good for Tampa.
Yeah, the play the kid did not have a post route either.
Yep.
He threw his hand up. That's a hell of a job for a rookie now. To know safety squatted, I'm supposed to break in. I just throw my hand up, and Big finds him. It's great job.
The other one,
Yeah, the Tez.
Yeah, the Tez Johnson touchdown is he sees the safety come, and then you see him go like this right here.
Yep.
And then you see him start to pull away from safety. And it's like, hey, maybe this guy isn't slow as hell.
Yeah.
Maybe you should watch the film instead of just the analytics coming out of the combine. Yeah, that's like fourth read, third read for Baker there?
Oh, at least, yeah, because that's not the route that's designed.
Yeah, but he goes right, thinks he's going right, looks back left, and then I think he sees.
Throws a hand
Pointing
up. We've always
pre-snap
said,
too. You see him
throw your
pointing
hand up.
pre-snap too.
Yeah.
Who's that, AJ? Tez?
Yeah, before that, if you go back to the old angle, he's pointing pre-snap. Like, I think these dudes are sitting on me. Watch. Look, he's starting to point right away. Oh, here we go. I'm right here, baby.
Hey, wait a
Here we
minute,
go.
Mike.
And then, bam, hand goes up then.
Okay, Tez.
Catching like the back third of the ball, too.
Yeah.
That's unbelievable. That's such a
That's
difficult catch right
That's
there.
how you get more reps.
Well, that's how you, hey, that's how you get MVP chance, too.
That's right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That was the best.
They actually released the mic'd up from that, Tez, on the sideline, thinking the MVP was for him because we obviously heard the press conference where he said, man, I thought they told me it wasn't. We have the whole moment. He was not lying. He thought that was for him. And wait until you see the culture the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have on the sideline. It is very evident here.
Baker Mayfield threw you the ball. I said, what did I do? I'm like, bro, I didn't do nothing this season. And they told my MVP.
I'm gonna tell y'all a funny story. This is crazy. When I score and I hit MVP chant, I'm thinking they talking about me. So I asked Shep. I'm like, Shep, they was chanting MVP?
Yeah.
And he was like, yeah. I was like, I ain't do nothing this year. And then he was like, they talking about Baker, Ted.
Baker Mayfield threw you the ball. Oh, I thought they told me. I was like, I didn't do a damn thing.
And I was like, well, that explains it. But he is the MVP.
I was just happy with you. But you know what? Now I am mad at you. Let's go. Hey, Mike said, what they was chanting, I said, MVP. What have I done? I said, what did I do? I was about to start praising it, man.
You know I'm slow sometimes, bro. I'm like, bro, I didn't do nothing this season. And they told my MVP, Shaq gonna talk about now, I was just messing with you. Now you go back to the old.
See, now you going back to the old Ted. Hey, now you about to start going crazy. All you needed was a little bit of confidence. Now you finna go digital. You hear me? I promise you.
Hey, that's a cool locker room right there. That is a fun locker room. That is a good vibe. Godwin losing his mind. He's not on the field.
Yeah.
Remember when and Mike, I mean, that team is powerful whenever everybody's healthy.
Emeka was out. They lost him in the second quarter. And
McMillan.
Jalen McMillan hadn't played yet, so their top four receivers are not there.
I like that Buccaneers team. I also like local sports talk.
Who doesn't?
Okay, I grew up in Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh is a place that has a lot of local sports talk. You know, I think it's like a super sports tiny thing to have the local sports talk. There's still places that it exists. Obviously, everybody thinks those days are old, and the talking heads that literally just yell into microphones for hours at a time for radio are days of the past. It's like, no, there's still a very loyal listener to sports radio, but also there is local sports talk that still is given the pulse of the fans. They're still giving the opinions of the fans. They're still asking the questions that need to be asked. And we have a Hall of Fame moment fresh out of Cleveland by Tony Rizzo, who's about sick and tired of Myles Garrett taking $40 million a year and then complaining about the state of the Browns.
I don't feel sorry for Myles Garrett.
I don't
Stop
either.
with this crap. He's not a leader. He's a hired gun here for money. And he wanted to leave your city and your team. End of story. Am I wrong?
No, Riz, you're exactly
What goes through
right.
your mind? What goes through your mind? I don't know. Every Friday when the direct deposit goes into my checking account, that's what goes through my mind.
If he's gonna talk like this, Riz,
the ass kissing of this guy is insane. Boy, are you getting the Tony Rizzo show today?
Yes.
You want Tony Rizzo today?
Yeah.
You're getting Tony Rizzo as if you were at my house.
Riz, if Myles Garrett wanted out so bad, he should have
Get the
stood.
hell outta
He
here.
should have stood by
Yeah,
his
right.
demand and
Oh,
forced his way out.
What goes
Enough.
through your mind? What goes through your mind? What? What are you talking about? Myles Garrett was a no-show yesterday. He never plays well agaast the Steelers.
Sports
Rarely.
radio.
Rarely.
Standing ovation. Not that
Myles, where the hell were you yesterday? That's my question.
Big pop late.
Oh, what goes through your mind when their ears are pinned back and everybody's getting a bunch of sacks? They give a crap how many sacks Myles Garrett has. I'm not here for Myles Garrett. I want to win.
That's all Tony Rizzo wants to do. I'll tell you what, we all won because we got a chance to hear that. Love the laugh track and a standing ovation to himself. I don't know who's controlling that, the bald-headed guy asking the questions to Tony Rizzo. We'd like to say massive respect to what you guys do, and we appreciate your fanhood and your passion. But that is a real sentiment, I assume, amongst Ohio people and Cleveland Browns fans about their leadership. Very similar to what was going on with Miami with Tua. Anytime you're losing and the people that are making the most amount of money are talking about stuff at the top, it's like you are the top is what fans feel like, AJ.
Yeah, I mean, you're never like if you want to get a sense of how the fans, how people feel about their team, go to the local people, whether it's college, pros, whatever. They're in there day in, day out, talking about their specific team, interviewing players. I'm sure Rizzo is not the only one in Ohio that feels this way. Now we know you lose, everybody can get it. When you lose, and it's going to come for the guys that make the most money at first. And Myles Garrett understands that. I doubt this. I'm sure Myles Garrett's heard things like this in the past, and he's used to it being in Cleveland, but. You win games, you're going to quiet a lot of this stuff down.
I don't know. Tony Rizzo might see himself in that graveyard for Halloween up there at Miles Garrett. Which I heard is getting actual marble this year with the new upgrade of the contract.
That makes sense.
Actual marble grave sites in his front yard of all the quarterbacks and Tony Rizzo potentially that he does every Halloween. You hear Tony Rizzo go like that. You've obviously been a coach for a long time. You've been in a lot of markets that sports talk matters. How much does that affect coaches? Because I think at this stage, players, Tony Rizzo just pops up as a TikTok, and then they probably just scroll right by it. This guy's crazy. Scroll right by it. But there was a time where sports talk, local sports talk, really mattered to teams, ownership, and everything they had going on.
Oh, yeah, I had fired BruceArians.com in a couple cities. But
you knew of it, too, yeah? Your whole family did?
I said my wife and kids do. I ain't paying attention, but you can't listen to that stuff. But I think it's great. The cities like Pittsburgh, Cleveland, they have a fervor of a fan base. And those guys, they love it. They're there every day. It means so much to them.
They're doing bigger numbers than a lot of these podcasts out here. They think they're national podcasts.
No doubt.
In these cities. And I grew up in Pittsburgh, which is a sports talk place and a lot of shit talk place and everything like that. And so I didn't really know the New York sports talking head market, which I guess they all feel like they created and birthed and everything like that with Mike and the Mad Dog. That whole thing I didn't know of them when I was growing up until back after this, started posting all the clips of this guy. And I'm like, wow, I wish I knew this guy existed my entire life. This would have been incredible. Good sports talk is hard to beat. It is legitimately hard to beat.
Yeah.
Like Tony Rizzo right there, feed me that times 10. But also, I would like some other stuff in my life. Rizzo's living it and potentially dying it, and we need him to take care of himself, Rizzo.
Well, and that's the big thing. Like, a guy like him, like, he has carte blanche to say whatever he wants. That guy is following the Browns day in, day out, and probably has been for, the last 30 years. He's killing himself. You subject yourself, and he has to care. He's talking about that for 6 months out of his year, every single year for the last 30 years. And team. I hate this. I almost hate this city because of it, so I'm going to let everybody have it. I think
it's their love of the city. It's Tony Rizzo's love of the city that drives him every single day, and we appreciate that from Paisan. I assume Tony Rizzo and many like him around the city, not in a lot of cities, but many people around different cities, they hate us. We're the national people that say something. Tony Rizzo. And you got this Thai shit guy. What's his name? The local people talking about the national people. The best in the world. Shout out to the local folks. We appreciate you. Shout out to sports.